Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here. Back at you another video, and welcome to part two of my shopping list for Christmas or even for the future January for Fiorentina, Frosinone, and Italian football just generally, and Celtic. I decided to do all three or four of those things in one. So anyway, I hope you enjoy it, and it took me about 5, 10, maybe even 15 minutes to compose myself to get ready to finally get around to this video. So as I say, I hope you enjoy it, and I hope I do as good a job as possible. I know I do have a bad habit of repeating myself. I've got to stop saying that as well, because I'm repeating myself, talking about repeating myself. But anyway, these are ideas number 11 to 20. So I hope you enjoy it, as I say, and I hope you have a good December and a good day and whatnot. Or vice versa. And as ever, I'd love to read your comments. I did think to myself, I'm going to keep this short and sweet for the intro, but probably not quite as short and sweet as I'd like. But anyway, here goes. So number 11, I went for a good walk. Me and my mum go to this place where we have like a meal and things like that, and also we socialise with people and things like that. It's all fun and games and that kind of thing. To meet people, and it's also like it's at a church, although it's not really for religious people, but it's just like a group where people can meet up and things like that. So that's pretty cool, although a lot of times that can be reclusive. And the reason why I mention that is because I thought of it, made me think of like different ideas I wanted to talk about, and one of them was like what exercises people from Florence or in the academies or whatnot could do to improve their football. Maybe even schools, parks, councils, politicians and whatnot, getting people into football and like looking at what exercises they could do to improve their game and that kind of thing. Number 12, on that note, on the way back, I went to the gym for a while. Didn't go for very long, but I did a few exercises. I'd like to think although I took it a little bit easy on myself, I'd like to think I at least did some exercises. As someone who's said in the gym last week, at least it's something. When I was talking to them, but again, I love to think about what exercises Italians could do, and also the diet and things like that. Italians generally, and especially from Florence in particular, going on alliterations. I said in part one, like Fiorentina Fridays, and I wonder what diets they could have and what exercises they can have and things like that. Like in the past, I always used to just walk everywhere. Not literally, obviously, but I used to walk a lot. I didn't really do any swimming or anything too strenuous, or I didn't go to a gym or anything like that. I thought walking on its own was good enough, but I was thinking football, sometimes they do strength training, so you can be strong enough to sort of improve your stamina, but also have physical strength a little bit. I know football is seen as a bit of a soft sport, and especially compared to rugby or whatever, but you still need a little bit of strength, I'm sure, to avoid injuries, or sometimes you need shoulder barge people or whatever, tackle as much as you're allowed to nowadays and that kind of thing. But so maybe there's some strength training they could do. And another thing I was thinking about is Fiorentina got to the final of the Conference League last season and lost to West Ham. And I was thinking, what if it made them hungry for success, more hungry for success this year? And I hope they'll be able to feed that hunger, so to speak, by winning it this year. Hopefully that'll make them hungry enough. I'm pretty sure they're still in that competition, or they might have to go through a playoff or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But I haven't really been following it that well, to be honest. So they might have been knocked out of the competition, which would be quite embarrassing. But hopefully, if not this year, as soon as possible. I hope this year. I hope they're still in it. And again, I've got to double check, but I'm pretty sure they're still in it, and I hope they can go all the way this time. Hopefully that can bring that hunger. Like one of the players, the Fiorentina players, had a coin thrown on the back of his head. You could actually see like loads of blood, unfortunately, which is a terrible thing, I think. And to be honest, sorry, any West Ham fans who might stumble across this video, I've got to be careful what I say, but I think West Ham should be fined so that this poor guy can get compensated, because I think that's pretty bang out of order. On that note, similar, if I'm honest, if I'm going to be fair, there was a Newcastle fan, unfortunately, attacked and even stabbed and that kind of thing physically assaulted. Luckily, I don't think he was too badly injured. I think he made a recovery, if I'm not mistaken. And I think, if I'm going to be fair, I think maybe as a gesture of goodwill, AC Milan on that note should sort of maybe buy him a new Newcastle top, because his Newcastle top got taken away from him, and even maybe help to pay for like him to cover like a game or something like that for him to watch. So to pay for some of, or if he has a season ticket, maybe even pay for a season ticket. That would be quite a good gesture of goodwill, especially Christmas time, maybe. If I'm going to be fair about it, but I do think West Ham should be fined if they're not already been fined. And I'm a bit biased, obviously, but I think the money should go to Fiorentina. Sort of adds insult to injury that Fiorentina lost, but I hope that they'll get hungry and they'll go out and win after losing so cruelly in the final last time round. And I also hope that that injury as well will spur them on, all being well. As far as I'm aware, the player is still playing for Fiorentina, so hopefully him and his teammates will be pushed even further to go and win that competition. And again, like as I mentioned in part one, for those who follow football, you'll probably know that all three finals were contested by Italian teams, which all unfortunately went on to lose. So I'm hoping that this season, it'd be cool if Fiorentina could win this season to make up for last season, and Roma could win. I'm talking about Italian club teams generally, and hopefully Roma can win, go to the final and win this time, and also Inter Milan, especially if they get a few good signings, as I mentioned recently, over Christmas. Number 13, I have a bit, I suppose I often think of a negative for number 13. So a negative for me would be the Italian teams not even getting to the final, or getting to the final again, losing again. That would be pretty annoying. Or Italian teams never catching up with Spain, or with Spanish and English teams. With Spain, it's a bit of a dilemma because they're like a Mediterranean nation, and I do love the way they play football. I wish Italian teams could play football like that, like attacking, entertaining football, fast passing, fast-paced sort of football. And they could learn from them from like, well, I'm not sure if it's fast-paced, but they do pass and move the ball quite quickly. And I think it would be cool if Italy, as a Mediterranean nation, could look at how they could replicate Spanish football, especially if we kept a stronger defence. I hope that will mean that Italian teams at club and country level can do as well as possible. A bias of mine, another thing I like to talk about, number 13, is like my selfish ideas and biases, which I suppose this is mainly about. My fears for Celtic are whether Brendan Rodgers is the right man for the job, and whether he can do whether he can do a good job, or if Rangers are going to win the league, if they do well in Europe. Rangers winning, that's a nightmare for me. And also if Celtic losing things, and if they want, like if Rangers won the league, got the money they'd get for that as well, and like they'd have the momentum. And because of the way Brendan Rodgers left not last season, 2 or 3 seasons ago, I think it's 3 seasons ago now. And many would say the Messi's left. He left when he left, and I think he's got to. A lot of pressure will be put on him if he loses a few games, or if the team doesn't play as well, which has been happening recently. But I hope they'll turn a corner after the Champions League. So number 14, hopefully with good investment and sponsorship and a lot of money. Again, talking about my Christmas shopping list for one of my main passions in life, which is football. I hope they'll get the money to solve those problems. And in Celtic's case, win the league. In Italian club team's case, win hopefully all 3 of those competitions: Conference, Europa, and Champions League, and the Champions League as well. And also the national team. I hope they'll be able to develop football academies. Although my fear is it will take a long time to do so. Number 15. On the subject of Christmas shopping lists and Italian football and Celtic, I would love to know what would be on Fiorentina fans and Frosinone fans and other Italian football fans, just general, as well as Celtic's shopping list, like what sort of players, coaches, and in many cases managers or whatnot would you like to see. So I hope as many fans of football, and especially Italian football in particular, and in particular Fiorentina, Celtic, also Celtic, and also Frosinone fans will check these videos out. But football fans generally, especially from Mediterranean nations, I hope they'll improve relations politically and through sports, especially football. And that kind of thing. Number 16, I would love to see how Italian football can continue to improve, and Celtic as well, how they can continue to entice investment, sponsorship money, sponsorship deals, as much money and funding, basically, I suppose that's the same thing, as possible, basically, and hopefully over Christmas get that investment and sponsorship and all those sorts of deals, and then if I'm really dreaming, and then hopefully in January and from January onwards, each transfer window hopefully growing stronger, and hopefully Brendan Rodgers can prove me wrong about my fears, and other Celtic fans as well, about our doubts after the first Champions League victory in 10 years at home, and I think 5 years overall. Hopefully it will turn a new leaf, and hopefully the players will have a lot of confidence. Number 17, it would be cool if, unfortunately, Celtic won't be able to do what I dreamed for them to do at the start of the season, talking about Celtic, which is to win a treble. Unfortunately, the most I think Celtic can win it is a double. But I hope they'll be able to do that, or at least win one trophy. I suppose if they don't win any trophies, that would be a nightmare season. But if they win at least one trophy, preferably two, I think it'd be cool. Obviously, they can't win any more than that. I didn't expect much in Europe anyway, but yeah, hopefully that investment as well will help. And I think maybe I'm being naive. I did ask the question like on the Celtic official YouTube channel, which I hope Celtic fans will subscribe to and check out their videos and like their videos and support them, because that will hopefully help them financially. I did mention, like, maybe I'm being foolish and naive, but I wonder if Celtic could go out and spend all the money they have in the bank, like 70 million. I don't know if that will break financial fair play rules, but maybe I'm being naive. But I'd love to know from Celtic fans, how much do you think the club should spend? How much do you think would be wise to spend? I was thinking at least probably 30 or 40 million. It would probably be wise to spend that much money to bring in some good players to pretty much guarantee success, hopefully, in the league, and therefore to get that money that will pay itself back quite quickly, if not straight away, pretty much, if we win the league and that kind of thing. And with the town teams, again, I would love to see that investment that hopefully can help win 1, 2, or even all 3 trophies. It was so gutting to get to the final and then lose, but I hope at youth level as well, at the national team, hopefully they can do well and win trophies. I think one of the youth teams got to the final and lost, although there was some good news where one got to the final and one beating Portugal. I mean, I love all the Mediterranean teams, but especially Italian ones, so that was pretty cool for me. But I'd love to read and hear from Italian football fans and Celtic fans about, as say, what's on your Christmas shopping list for your respective clubs, Fiorentina, Frosinone, Celtic, and whatnot, and whether you think Brendan Rodgers is the right man, and different Italian teams talking about whether you think that you have the right manager, or you could get a better manager like AC Milan. Could they improve on Pioli, and that kind of thing? Could Fiorentina improve on Italiano? I'd love to see people like Pep Guardiola, and funny enough, Ange, who managed for Celtic, to manage an Italian team, maybe in Fiorentina or something like that, and see if they could bring that attacking football. I often think of different scenarios, so I know this is kind of contradictory in a way, because I think of what if Pep was at Pep for short, Pep Guardiola, of course, was at Inter Milan, or sometimes I think what if he was at AC Milan, or what if he was at Roma, replacing Mourinho or whatnot. Although Mourinho's still there, but what if Mourinho left to Saudi Arabia, if his contract went out or whatever, as he normally only lasts 3 years at a club. Yeah, I was thinking like that kind of thing. But yeah, he normally has a 3-year spell at a certain club. So I was wondering, what if, as this is his 3rd year, what if either this year or next year, if he was replaced by Pep Guardiola? I think that'd be an interesting story, and if he could bring that attacking flair to Italian football, which is a bit too defensive, perhaps. Many might argue. It could improve the image of the game as well, but also make it more entertaining, and most importantly for me, win trophies. Because I think if I had a choice between Italian football being popular, similar to Celtic, if it was popular all around the world, or winning trophies, or playing entertaining football and winning trophies, as much as I'd love for Italian football and Celtic to be known all over the world and be popular, loved all over the world, and even play entertaining, attractive football, I think winning trophies is even more important. And I'm sure there's a few other points we're going to say, but I'm going to move on. But yeah, Italian teams winning at 1, 2, or even all 3 trophies, and Celtic winning as many trophies as possible in the future. Number 18, again, I think it'd be interesting to see what Pep Guardiola, Ange Postecoglou, and others could do to improve Italian football. And maybe Pep going to Celtic even in the future. I think that would be really cool and interesting. Number 19, again, I hope as many Italian football fans and Celtic fans and football fans even generally, I think that was a point I was going to make and I completely forgot. I would love to read from and hear football fans generally talking about, like, so even West Ham, Aston Villa, Birmingham, Arsenal, Chelsea, or any other football fans all around the world to talk about what your dreams would be for your club and like who you would like to see manage your club, what players you would like to see at your club and that kind of thing. And number 20, as ever, I'd love to know, read people's ideas and hear people's ideas and suggestions on how to improve youth development in Italian football and for Celtic as well. Again, what Italian football and Celtic can do to improve just generally and that kind of thing. And I'm out. Peace and love.